Thanks for joining our monthly community webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the product management team. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available. For details, please see our monthly community newsletter and subscribe to the Oracle Video Hub partner channel. In today's presentation, Arvind and Stan will introduce Oracle Process Automation. Good morning, Arvind.
Good morning, Jürgen, and hi, everyone.
Thanks for getting up early. You are based in Silicon Valley.
Yes, I'm based out of the Redwood Shores offices in the Silicon Valley area.
Great, and good evening, Stan. You are based on the other side of the world.
I am, yes, based out of Sydney. So good morning to all of you guys in Europe. Good afternoon, sorry, I should say.
Today, we will update you on Oracle Process Automation. There are two major use cases. You can support human-based workflows with custom applications. And secondly, you can configure and extend SaaS applications. Objective of today's webcast is to give you an overview of the latest version of Oracle Process Automation, which is embedded in multiple SaaS services and available standalone as a native Oracle infrastructure service. Quick safe harbor statement. Please pay attention to the Oracle Safe Harbor statement. Please blog and tweet only about services and functionality which is available today. Quick housekeeping. Please feel free to post your questions via the conference Q&A tool or Twitter #PaaScommunity. At the end of the webcast, we will answer them. Slides will be available at our Video Hub channel and at the community website. Please share your feedback via the Zoom survey at the end of the webcast. For today's agenda, after the community announcement, I will reintroduce Oracle Process Automation. Stan will demo OPA Live. At the end of the webcast, we will answer your questions. So let's get started with the community announcements. In case you missed our last month's kickoff webcast with Suhas Ulia, the on-demand version is available at Oracle Video Hub. For our hands-on trainings, we continue to offer integration bootcamps. They are most suitable for SaaS partners who implement ERP, HCM, and CX. The goal is that you can demo and build a proof of concept after the training and that you become a certified expert. For details and registration, please see the community newsletter. Upcoming schedules include September in the US, October in India, and in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And in November, we cover South America in Spanish and Asia. Our next community webcast will take place on September 27th, and Neil Kominski will introduce Integration Generation 3. For all details, please subscribe to our community newsletter and read the latest edition. The community website provides you a one-stop information portal with all information, including the newsletter, sales, marketing, and all the trainings, and an upcoming calendar with the events. On the digital assistant side, we also offer a hands-on training. All partners are invited to try Oracle Digital Assistant, the enterprise chatbot solution, specifically developers, consultants, and UI designers. Upcoming trainings include Latin America in September, US and EMEA also in September, in October in Portuguese for Brazil, and also in October for Asia and Europe, Middle East, and Africa. For details and registration, please subscribe to the Developer Partner Community newsletter. Same here, at the website, you'll find all information and the latest product announcements. Today's webcast is recorded and will be available on demand, including presentation and slides at Oracle Video Hub. Registration is open for Oracle Cloud World, and we are looking forward to welcome you October 16th in Las Vegas. Please make sure that you sign up for the integration sessions and that you step by the demo booth where you can meet the team. On September 15th, we will update you on the latest release. The webcast takes place 8 o'clock San Francisco time or 5 o'clock Paris time. In case you missed our last success webcast, the on-demand version is now available on demand. We are going to launch a new series of best practice webcasts for Oracle Digital Assistant. The first one takes place in October, talking about financial services, followed by a webcast about analytics and digital assistant and HCM bots. For registration and details, please visit bit.ly/ODA success. Additionally, we run a best practice webcast series, which starts next week, September 6th. In a series of 6 webcasts, you will learn how to build better bots. For details, please visit the newsletter. With those short announcements, I would like to hand over to Arvind. Arvind, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Jürgen. Quite a lot of exciting announcements there. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody who's on the call, wherever you are located. So as part of the webcast today, I'll be joined by Stan, and I will be covering the OCI process automation updates. We will talk about a number of key details around the service and some exciting new announcements that we have gone through in the recent past. So let me go ahead and move on. So let's start with a quick introduction, and then we will walk into a general agenda of what we will cover today. So we rolled out process automation as an external-facing OCI service in the first half of this year. We have had a number of SaaS partners and others who were looking at using process automation and human tasks and workflow modeling as part of their extension use cases, as part of their modernization. And we have been partnering with them. And as part of this webinar today, we will look at some of those, a couple of those examples. Previously, process automation was available as part of Oracle Integration Cloud, and that will continue to be the case. And we will talk about that as we go as well. Essentially, what it means at this point in time is process automation will be available to you as an independent service from an end-to-end perspective. We have some user-based pricing models as well as consumption-based pricing models that we are introducing for the service that will help us to be competitive in the market. And with all that said, process automation will continue to be available as part of the integration cloud in the context of a larger automation platform. So what's new with process automation? So we have, it's an OCI native external-facing service that we are following. We have a brand new architecture that is underneath of the covers that helps us scale better. It's an external-facing service, which means that you will be able to provision the service and create instances directly from the OCI console. And we have made multiple functional enhancements to the product, including major UI changes and UI UX changes, and we have moved to Redwood-themed design, Redwood-themed UIs. And you will see that as part of the demo. So a quick agenda. So we will look at the evolution of the process automation tools at Oracle. We will start by going over a quick introduction to the process automation service. If you are not familiar with that, we will look at some of the key aspects of the service, including pricing, and that the new pricing that we have rolled out. And then we will switch to a demo where Stan will walk through an expense and a pretty exciting use case where you will see the product in live action. And we will wrap up the day by talking about 2 use cases where process automation is working with our SaaS partners, CX and HCM, so action plans and journeys respectively. With that, let's get started. So a quick, if you're not familiar with the process automation service at Oracle, we wanted to start off by providing a quick update on the service itself. So process automation service has evolved quite a bit over a period of time. If you are familiar with the PCS service that was rolled out way back, the service has evolved to gone through a number of evolutions where the service is available as part of the OIC Gen 2 package today. We are working with the Fusion applications service teams to kind of make sure that the service is available as part of their go-to-market for extension use cases. And where we are now in July of this year, we are rolling out the new version of the process automation service, similar to what Oracle Integration is doing, where process automation is available as an external-facing service for you to provision, use independently or in conjunction with the larger automation platform. So this is a quick history on the evolution and how we've kind of gotten here. Let's go into the process automation service itself. So we have a a 5-minute overview of the service itself. So if you're not familiar with the process automation capabilities, we wanted to provide a quick background. So what is process automation? This service fundamentally allows you to automate business processes. These business processes could be long running in nature, they could be short running in nature. We have use cases where a business process for permits planning, for example, could run for more than 18 months. We could have business processes that are very short approval cycles that could be a few hours to minutes. Typically, most of the business processes span multiple systems of record, and you could have digitized human tasks that are part of the service that helps you automate this. We support some of the major industry standards that are used in the product. BPMN, CMMN, and DMN are some of the examples here. And from a UI perspective or a persona perspective, and you will see this as part of the demo, we support two primary persona bases. The first one is a designer developer. We provide a no-code design platform for users to be able to create process applications, test them, deploy them, manage their lifecycle. We provide a secondary UI for our end users. And an end user could be a business user who's interacting with a process, initiating a task, acting on a task, or it could be an operational or an administrative persona who is setting up the system, tracking various transactions, etc. And Stan's going to be covering that as part of the demo that we will see today. We also, a dominant portion of how our software is used is we provide UI snippets, which could be embedded. So forms and other components, task list and other components that you would want, you can embed this in your system of record, in your web application like Visual Builder, which enables you to create your user experience in their application of choice and not have them go out to a separate system. So some of the core functionalities of the product at the center are the two major process modeling constructs that we provide in the product. Structured process modeling is something that you would be able to use. It's a traditional concept, and that continues to be heavily used. If your transition states for your process are a standard, and the designer would be able to model them upfront, and the user is interacting with your task, the structured process modeling works great. We also provide unstructured or what we call dynamic process in the product, which allows you to model event-based transitions or data-driven transitions as part of the modeling. To support this, we provide rules and decisions. Rules and decisions enables you to create reusable business rules that could be leveraged as decision services in your enterprise. From an end user or UI perspective, we provide forms, web forms that you would be able to design and attach to a task. You could also bring in external UIs, what we call linked UIs in the product. You would be able to bring in those and create larger experiences. Connectivity, we provide REST-based interactions, so basic or auth-based interactions in the product that enables you to connect to your objects, business objects, or systems of record, etc. Now, obviously, the REST integration is an option, but you would be able to leverage Oracle integration as well as part of the larger connectivity and larger automation story. Last but not least, we provide a workspace that enables you to look at the various end user tasks, the operational tracking, and others that you will see when Stan goes through his demo. So some examples. The ERP credit line extension is a classic example of being able to model a process where an end user initiates the credit line extension request that goes through a credit check, goes through a manager for review and approval, and then eventually gets the credit line extension either gets approved or denied. The HCM absent request, we will see a HCM-based onboarding demo or badging demo today as part of the webinar. But the HCM absence request is a core HR use case that enables you to look at leave approvals. And then last but not least, CX code discount request. So being able to generate a code approval or discount approval for opportunity that you're working in the CX tool. So those are some of the examples. So with that quick overview of the service itself, let's move into OCI process automation. So we are pleased to announce that process automation is available as an external facing service for customers now. Again, it continues to be part of application integration as part of the overarching automation strategy and automation story. So the design experience and other aspects that you have come to be aware of will continue to exist. With that said, process automation enables you to look at or create process automation instances directly from the console. You can look at initiate the request from the console and be able to create it. We have a new microservices-based architecture underneath the covers, and you will see the demo as we go. For the product itself, we have new pricing metrics in the service. So we have two new pricing metrics that we have introduced for the service. So as you create your instance, you would be able to pick one of the two license metrics from the consoles, and you will see that experience in a second here. The first license metrics, we are looking at providing essentially a user-based and a usage-based option for our customers. The user-based option, it's an active user per hour option, which enables customers to be able to meter based on users who are actively using the system. And these users could be end users, or these could be designers who are actively interacting essentially through our UI or APIs. The second metric that we are offering is what we call the execution pack per month. This enables users to, or customers to, have a usage-based consumption model on the product. Now, the execution pack per month includes what we call 10,000 execution activities. And an execution activity is essentially any of the elements that are on the right panel that you can drag and drop. So notifications, tasks, service calls, gateways, or any of the tasks that you are familiar with in the product would be an execution, would be an activity. Now, as a designer, you would be able to model any of these activities up front, which may or may not be what is executed at runtime. So let's say that you have 100 activities or elements in your design. During your runtime of a transaction, if it traverses through 20, you would be built for the 20 activities that are executed. So that's the concept of execution activities. This enables customers to be able to have a consumption-based model, similar to when you're using message packs with integration, for example. Pricing wise, so these are the actual prices that we have for the product. The SKUs are on the left. The price is indicated here. For the user base, there is a minimum of 5 users that is applicable. And one thing to call out here, there is a free tier. The first execution pack per month is available for free for customers. So you would be, there is a free tier that is available. So if you're looking at leveraging the product to a tier or have them trial the service, etc., then you would be able to take advantage of it. So this is an example of the Service Console UI. So you can, as you can see, you would be able to come into the console, go through the developer services. Under app integration, you will find process automation. And you can see that there is a number of instances created here. As you are going through and creating the instance, you can provide the various metadata details required for this. You can see that you can provide the name, the description, the various shapes. So if you want a development or production shape, you would be able to leverage that, add additional tags. And importantly, you can pick which metric you want to be using for this instance. So when you're creating an instance, you just have to pick one of the metering models. So you have the flexibility to choose between an execution pack-based model or a user-based model, and you would be able to leverage that as part of the instance. So where is the service available? So the service has been, we are in the process of rolling out the service across the board. And currently the service is available in the regions, OC1 regions that are listed here. We are in the process of rolling out in waves to the rest of the regions. So if you have specific regions where you need the service available, then please do reach out to us. But with that said, wave 2 and wave 3 will be executed over the next few weeks here. So you should see the process automation service available across the board. And we will also be available in the Gov region, starting with UK Gov over a period of time as well. With that said, let me stop sharing here, and I will hand off to Stan for a demo of the product. Stan?
Thank you, Arvind. So just by way of introduction to the demo, what we're going to see is effectively the experience of two different personas. The first one will be that of a process designer or a developer, if you will. So we'll go into OPA and we'll look through what a designer would usually do in the tool as far as configuring applications, configuring processes, designing web forms that are part of these processes, setting up connections to different systems, etc. So I'll introduce this with an existing demo of a car loan application. I'll take maybe 5 minutes to kind of give you that flavor. The main use case that I want to kind of show you guys today is an expense approval use case, which is driven by documents or effectively the attachment of receipts upon initiation. So after I do that original overview of these different design components, I'll come back to that specific use case and we'll kind of drill into how that was designed and what its purpose is. The other key persona or experience that we want to show you in today's demo is that of the business user. So as a business user, I can interact with different processes depending on their context. So for some processes, I might be required to actually kick them off with a web form, which is what we'll see in the expense process today. With other processes, I might need to take some additional action, maybe fill out more information and that needs to be part of the process or take approval or rejection action on a specific process. So we'll kind of have a look at that. And then process owners can actually see all of their running process instances. They can go into each one and kind of have that visibility of what is occurring at any given point within an instance of a process. So we're kind of going to explore both of these two different personas as we kind of see this demo. And so let me just quickly switch to my browser. In here, what we'll talk through first is the design experience. And so you can see if, as a process designer, I have quite a few process applications configured. And on this canvas, I can either create a new one, I can import an existing one, especially if I'm doing lifecycle management. So export, import out of one environment into another, or I can create new versions of existing process applications, right? And kind of increment those versions, to maintain the code as I'm going through my development lifecycle. So let me drill into the first one of these processes, which I just want to use as a bit of an overview of process. And so this particular one is a car rental application, but let's just kind of talk through the high-level components. So the first thing that process designers would do is they would, model the business process that they need to meet their business's requirements, right? And these can either be structured processes, which follow the BPMN notation, so the swim lanes that we're all kind of familiar with, or unstructured processes using case management. So depending on the use case that you have, you would kind of go down one of these two paths and you would design your process accordingly. Now, what you'll see here is that quite often we actually combine the two. So, you can mix and match to get the best out of both worlds. The other thing that you'll need to do, as I mentioned, is create web forms. And these web forms could start your process, or they could be used in your process to do things such as take approval action or review action on certain data. In addition to that, you can also create reusable decisions. So these are effectively business rules that are captured as a decision service. And really, probably the most common way that people think of these is through decision tables, right? Where you have a business user capture all of their kind of rules and the outcomes that should occur based on prior conditions. So once you define these decisions can be reused within any process within your application, and they kind of become this vehicle for reusable components that capture the business logic of the business. In addition to that, you'll need to also connect these processes to systems of records and other systems. So this could be Oracle and non-Oracle SaaS applications. It could be OCI services, or any REST enabled endpoint that we can reach. So you would go through and set up those connections. You might also need to configure types depending on whether you're dealing with complex business objects. And these types could be used both to initiate your process or within the workflow of a process. So it kind of gives you the flexibility to define complex objects and then kind of reuse them within your processes. The final thing that the process designer lets you do is it lets you define roles within the context of an application. And then you can assign users, or groups to these roles depending on the requirements that you kind of have. So let me just quickly double click on one of these processes just so I can show you what an unstructured process looks like. For those of you familiar with the case management notation, you kind of see these different stages, which are effectively a grouping of activities that can occur depending on a certain condition. So in this particular case, this process has three: a booking stage, a pickup stage, and a return stage. Each of these stages have, as you can see, one or more different activities. Now, one of these activities, as I mentioned, can be, the interaction with humans via human task. And you can see in here, there's a whole variety of ways in which we can configure who the task is assigned to. Is it a specific member? Is it a role? Do we want to define that via an expression? Which form should be triggered when this task is initiated? What are the actions that should be available? The priority, the due dates, reminders, notifications, etc. So quite a lot of configuration there for engaging end users. The other thing you'll see is that here we're also calling out to making API calls within this process. So for example, to calling out to an AI service to predict car mileage. So any interactions that we need with external systems that can be embedded within your processes, you can then react based on the data that's returned. The other key thing that I touched on before is that we can also combine the use of unstructured processes with structured processes. And so you can see in this particular case here, we're actually invoking a structured process. If I navigate to this, many of you might be familiar with the look and feel of this BPMN flow. You can see the different swim lanes with the different tasks kind of belonging to each swim lane. And from a process designer point of view, it's all based on drag, drop, and configure concept. So we drag one of the elements from the right-hand panel, whether it's to do with human activities, or system tasks. So whether we want to call different APIs, reuse one of these business decision services, send an email, all of these are kind of just available for us here to add to our processes we need. The other key thing to mention is that there's a number of different ways to start processes. So we can start them with a form. We can also start them with an API call. They can also be initiated by another process, as is the case here. So there's kind of quite a lot of flexibility in the way that you want to design these. But let me kind of go back to the use case at hand for today. I hope that served as a very quick overview of what a process designer would go through. What I really want to focus on in the remainder of this demo is this specific use case of an expense report. And you'll see here I have a very simple process, a process that starts with a web form and accepts, actually let me open the form designer, and accepts just a few input parameters: cost center, expense report date, but critically accepts the user to attach a document, and this document would be a receipt in this particular case. And so once an end user has done that, that receipt will actually be sent to OCI object storage through that component that we just saw in the form. And then we make two additional API calls. One to create a PaaS request, effectively giving us a URL endpoint for the image that we've just uploaded in the form. And the second is to trigger the OCI Vision service, passing the receipt file that was uploaded to OCI Vision. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with OCI Vision is an Oracle Cloud native service that gives you the ability to effectively extract or scan, if you will, data from a document and extract the key value pairs of the text within it. And so OCI Vision has a specific, if you will, algorithm for receipts and invoices and a whole bunch of other functionality. And we're leveraging that capability here to actually extract all the data of the uploaded receipts and return that data back to the process flow. And once that data is returned to the process flow, we can now interact with it. We can make decisions based on that data. And so, for example, here we're basing our decision on the confidence score of OCI Vision. If the confidence score is high, we'll send it directly to our manager to approve. And if the confidence score is low, we're going to create another human task that will be reassigned to the initiator for them to verify that OCI Vision has actually captured all the data correctly before they can then send it to the approver. So a very simple use case, but kind of cool nonetheless. Let's actually go and show you this. So if I navigate to the runtime experience, which is what we call as our workspace, this is what end users or how end users would interact with these processes. And so in here, for example, they can track the tasks that they need to take action. These tasks might be assigned to them, or they might be assigned to their team, and they can take, action on these. They can claim them from a queue, all of the task management capabilities that you'd be familiar with to effectively manage these tasks, or they can actually submit processes that they have access to. So in our case, that's exactly what we'll do. And we'll kick off this expense report. So let's say use case 1, maybe we have a customer meeting and we've gone out to lunch. And so what you'll see is here I have a restaurant receipt. So nothing fancy, just 4 line items. And I'm going to just upload this through the file component of OPA. So in addition to that, I also need to provide a file name, and then I'm good to go. I can submit this. And upon submission, what should happen with this particular receipt is that the confidence level should be returned as high, and that should be sent directly to our manager. Normally I would do this by logging in as different users to keep things quick and simple. I've given myself the manager role as well. And you can see here that the manager has received a task to approve this expense report. And so when the manager opens up this task, what they actually see is the receipt that was attached by the expense report initiator, and all of the data that was actually extracted by OCI Vision on the right-hand side, as well as the information the user put around the expense report details. And so they can approve or reject. In our case, let's just approve this one quickly. Now, the second thing that I want to do is I want to go back and I want to initiate one more request. This time I'm going to attach a different receipt, one that should return a lower confidence score. So just so that we can just see the other path of that flow. So in here, I'm just going to upload this receipt and provide the name and then just submit. And so if you recall the process flow under low confidence, this should actually be reassigned to the initiator for them to validate that OCI Vision has extracted all the information correctly. And so in this particular case, let's go back. So as the initiator, I will get a task, this time called validate receipt. I can open this task and I can see the second receipt. You can see it's not as good quality as the first here with all of the information the Vision extracted. And so if I want to make any changes, maybe it's extracted a particular field incorrectly, I can make those changes and then I can submit it. And this will actually, again, go to my manager, and then my manager will again view that expense report, just as they saw it before, and they can take action on this expense report. They can approve it, they can reject it, etc. The other thing that you'll notice is, as part of this experience, we have the collaboration piece through comments. So we can communicate with each other throughout the process lifecycle. We also have history, but I guess what I wanted to show you is the tracking side. So as a process owner, I can actually go to see all of my process instances, and I can double click on each one and kind of have a look at exactly what happened at every step of the way. And so, for example, with the two that we just ran, I can actually see the information that we sent to Vision and OCI Vision, and the information that was returned, right? So they can actually go through each activity, and they can ensure that all of the things happen that needed to happen, and take any corrective action as needed. So that's really just a high-level summary of our runtime view that caters for business users and process owners. So with that, I will hand over back to you, Arvin.
Thank you very much, Shan, for the demo. So there was a number of things that we saw in the product. You would have obviously noticed newer user experiences, updated responsive UIs. We have a number of key changes that we have made. There is the runtime engines. There is some architectural updates where we have unified some of that. We have unified access for various types of processes. Previously, we had different API structures for each of them. We have a unified lifecycle management for various processes. So you would have seen singular tracking views. We have enriched authorization models for data access controls as well as members. We have simplified role management that Stan walked through, and data management specifically is something that we have enhanced and we will continue to enhance. We are also continuing to add new features. So for example, we've added a document connector feature that Stan demoed as part of the forms, which enables you to get data in and out of object store, HCM documents of record, etc. And then there is performance and resiliency improvements that we have made as well. For the future plans, we have more coming. So continue to build a native integration with Oracle integration so that you have the same experience that you have with OIC Gen 2. Conversational processes, approvals, more embeddable support, free text APIs for business search. There's a number of things that are part of a roadmap that will continue to be added to this particular platform. So with that said, with an introduction to the platform and a demo, let's move on to the Fusion applications side of things. So over the last year or so, we have been working very closely with the Fusion applications pillar teams, where specifically HCM and CX. And we have rolled out process automation that works with CX action plans and HCM. So we will go through that as part of this webinar today. So now a quick word before we go into the demos themselves. So we have introduced new process automations for SaaS or for Fusion SKUs in the SaaS price list. So if you have customers who are either HCM or CX customers, and they are looking for either integrated experience with journeys and action plans, and they're looking for commercial models that line up with how those products are purchased, then the hosted employee metric maps directly to how HCM is used or purchased, and then the named user maps to how CX is purchased. So these are additional commercial options apart from the new PaaS SKUs that we outlined for earlier today, that customers would be able to leverage to purchase a SaaS service and then use in conjunction with CX or HCM respectively. So process automation with CX action plans. So let's quickly go through this before we go over our demo. So specifically, process automation is some, Oracle service capabilities, or the CX service capability. They offer action plans. For action plans, it's essentially a service request use case where you would be able to generate various actions as part of your service request that's been raised by customers. So previously, action plans supported a number of different constructs in their product that enable them to generate actions for various tasks that have been created. And we have added process automation-based dynamic process to the mix now. So customers would be able to generate action type of dynamic process and create complex and flexible processes that could be used as actions as part of it. So, so these are some of the main examples. So for all the items on the left, so case, opportunity, service request, HR help desk request, internal service request, you could create any of the items on the right here. Appointments, cases, tasks are all constructs that you could create. With the addition of process, you are now able to create a dynamic process and attach to a case. So let's go through this demo. So this is the UI from the Fusion side. Before we go into the setup and maintenance, let's quickly go through and look at the app that we'll be using. So for this particular example, we'll be using a multi-level approval flow. So you can see that what I'm using here is a simple request where the service agent comes in, creates and submits a request. It goes through a manager review and approval step, and then based on the amount, if the amount is greater than $1,000 here, it goes to an executive review. So we have a number of different components here, and this is an example that the CX team had built, where you can you have a simple approval, a multi-level approval process. You have a UI, and you have a callback through a connector to update various things. So let's go and look at the action plan setup. So this is the UI. You can see that a process automation instance is attached to this FA instance already. So the customer does not have to do any of the administrative work. Once a process has been activated, you can go ahead and discover them. So you can see that multi-level approval is a type of dynamic process. It's already been imported, it's customer visible. So once a process application in the corresponding instance is activated, you would be able to use it. And as you can see, along with other constructs, dynamic process is also now available. So let's go into the service center. So what we are now going to see is essentially the main screen for the end user. So we have already seeded a service request in this particular UI. So let's go back in. So you can see all the service requests that are being created. You can create a new service request, or you can use an existing one. In this case, let's go ahead and use an existing one. So you can see that it's a path replacement service request. I can go ahead and say, I create an action, and I can see all the actions that are available. Now I'm going to select the multi-level approval, which is the process that was already made available to the service agent. So the agent can select that particular process, they can add comments, and they can go ahead and edit this. So to initiate the process, they can say that I'm looking for a $1,500 estimate. The part is still in warranty, so we need to be able to service this customer. So we can say the part's faulty, the machine's under warranty, so approval for the part replacement is required. So let's go ahead and do a submit. And essentially at this point, that's the step that we have kind of gone through, right? The user has submitted the service request, and now it is going to go through the manager approvals and the executive review and approval. So you can see that the various stages are completed. This is our tracking UI. The manager approval is pending. The executive review is next. Now you can see that all the various activities that is available, including making changes, the comments, all of those are available to the end user so that they can make changes. The user will also be able to see in the action plans UIs the aspect for this product. So that's a quick example of how action plans is leveraging process automation to extend action plans further. With this, users are able to create more complex actions, integrate with other systems, update data back. And this is an example of how CX is leveraging process automation for action plans. Let's do another quick overview and demo for HCM journeys this time, before we wrap up the session for Q&A and close out. So HCM journeys. So specifically in the context of HCM journeys, journeys is an employee engagement concept that HCM has rolled out. Our customers are able to create journeys within HCM for various aspects, like onboarding, badging, and others. HCM was looking to expand the journeys in the context of what is Journeys Booster, and a process automation is leveraged as part of Journeys Booster to create more extensible workflows across multiple applications and extend the journeys reach itself. So we have a number of different examples, such as onboarding, badging, that are examples of this. So let's look at what Journeys is and then go into the demo. So Journeys is an overall a set of capabilities for employee experience in the enterprise. Journeys Booster is specifically where process automation is leveraged. So with Journeys Booster, you are able to automate requests, you are able to expand journeys via HR help desk, can connect to various other third-party applications, manage risk, and create a seamless experience. So let's go into that particular example and then look at it. So this is an example of a badging workflow that was created by the HCM team. So you can see that there is a number of different aspects for this particular application here. You can see that there is a primary process that is made available here. So in this particular process, there is a number of things that are ongoing. The process is initiated by an event that is happening in HCM. So it's a message-based start that is happening. We are getting details, making service calls to HCM to get details such as worker details, user IDs, etc. The information is then updated into HCM. So we are there's a user task that is created to upload the badging photo that the employee wants to use. Once this badging photo is created, it goes through the review cycle for the supervisor or the facilities team to review the badge picture, see if it is an acceptable picture. If not, it's sent back to the end user. If it is accepted, then the badge generation is created, and a service call is made out to the badging system, where the badge is then generated and the notification is sent to the employee, letting them know that this has been kicked off. So as you can see, as Stan walked through in the demo, there is a number of different constructs that is leveraged by the Journeys, the HCM team here. You can see the various aspects. So there are multiple swim lanes with various roles that are available to the end user here. And this is the Journeys checklist or the integration. So you can see that you now have the ability under the integration category for process automation. You can discover the type of processes that are being generated in the system. You can select the various roles. So in this case, you can see that we just selected the role that was managed or activated by us in the previous UI that you were looking. So you can see once that is selected, you can select the process name and you can validate it. Again, similar to what we saw in the CX example, there is an instance of process automation already attached to this Fusion application instance, which means that from an administrative standpoint, the end user has very little overhead. They can purchase the SKU, and then they are off ready to go as far as the usage of the product is concerned. In this case, we are now validated the checklist. The integration is now active. And we go to the checklist templates, and we can add this to a journey. So this is a new hire onboarding journey that we'll be looking at. In the task for these various journeys, we'll be looking at the get access badge example. And we can say instead of a manual task, process automation is an option that is available in journeys. You can say that as part of this particular task or a step in journeys, I want to be able to start this employee badging process. So from an administrative standpoint, it is very easy for users to select any of the activated processes that are available in the corresponding instance and then add it to journeys. So you can now see that that part is completed. We can save and close this. So now that the administrative portion is done, let's quickly go and take a look at the end user experience. So we will navigate to the primary journeys UI. So here, this is a new hire onboarding experience or the new hire onboarding journey that we will be looking at. So here, once this populates, so here we have the new hire onboarding journey. And in this new hire onboarding journey, you can see all the tasks that have been listed. So you can see the various tasks that have been generated for the user. You can see the get access badge task that is being created as well. So now from an end user perspective, as far as the user is concerned, they are interacting with a particular a task that is being created. And it so happens that underneath the covers, we are leveraging process automation based application. You can say, I want to start this particular task or step in the journey. And once this is started, it will kick off the process and provide a confirmation to the user. So at this point, the task is kicked off and we are ready to go. So this is a very quick example of how Journeys is using process automation to extend with Journeys Booster. And more examples on this has been posted as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. With that said, and 5 minutes left, we want to thank you, and Jürgen.
Thank you very much, Arvind, for the nice overview and the great demo from Stan. And it's amazing to see what the platform offers and how SaaS applications make use of it. So there are a lot of questions. If you have questions, you can still post them in the Q&A tool and we will answer them in a second. First of all, we would like to wrap up the call with the resources available for you as a partner. So if you're not yet a member in the partner community, oops. Can you see my summary slide, Arvind?
Yes, I can see the slide with questions. Yeah.
No, it should be a different one. Let me share again. Okay. So if you're not yet a member in the communities, please register for the integration and process partner community to get the latest updates. We offer hands-on trainings on Oracle integration and the community forum on demand. For the details on process automation, feel free to get a free trial. Oracle offers the free tier where you can run your own instance permanently. And on top of that, you get a 30-day trial of Oracle integration and also of Oracle process automation. The documentation is already available, so it's really good documents. And for more information, please visit the community websites. With that, let's go to the questions. So we had a lot of questions. Thank you for submitting them. And one common question is, what's the difference between the current version of Oracle Process, part of Oracle integration, and the new standalone Oracle Process Automation?
Yeah, I can take that. So it's a new version of the service that is available with OIC Gen 2 today. And that will continue to be the case. So, customers will be updated to the new version, and we will continue to be available with integration as well. So it's a new version in the same line of products. And from a capability perspective, you should see a lot of the same capabilities that is already available. And we are continuing to add new and existing capabilities into the platform. So you will see exciting new features as well as features that were previously presented as part of process with Oracle integration.
Great. And can you upgrade existing Oracle Gen 2 customers into the new version of Oracle Process Automation?
Yes, that is the goal, and that will be something that we are working through as part of the roadmap. We will be working with customers as well as yourself to move customers to the new version of the product.
Okay, then we had a question from Suresh, no, from Kumar. Does the new Redwood UI provide flexibility to change and configure those processes?
Yes, so as Stan demonstrated, you will be able to model the process applications in a drag and drop concept, and you can modify them. You can also have more embeddability support for either the designer or the end user UI, but both are available. Stan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's a perfect summary, Alvin. Yep.
Then we had a question from Mark. Is Oracle Process Automation Generation 3 already available?
Yes, it is available, and it is available in the OC1 regions that I outlined. It is also available through Fusion applications, so it's available in multiple ways. So if there's a specific question, Mark, please do reach out and we can help you.
And do we provide recipes or accelerators?
Yeah, I can take that. So yes, that is the goal. We don't support direct integration with a store for pre-builds, but that is something that is on the roadmap. But that the intent is to provide support for pre-builds.
Okay. Is there anything like a unified work list to combine tasks from multiple applications and systems?
Stan, do you want to take that? Or?
Yeah, so at the moment, it's really based on, I guess, the role-based access control that are assigned, that your user has access to. So if you have access to take actions across multiple applications, you will get a consolidated view for your tasks. So you will see tasks from different processes on the workspace that we saw earlier. So yeah, that's our experience at the moment.
Okay, the next question for you, Stan, is do we offer already hands-on labs or do we offer already some demo services?
Yeah, so we are working with the Live Labs team to publish something, and I believe it's just around the corner. So we should have an announcement very, very shortly on that.
Okay, next question is for Arvin from Mark. Do we embed process automation in HCM?
The answer is yes. They're using process automation for extending the capability. It may depend on the definition of embed, but HCM does use process automation underneath the covers for Booster, and they are working towards embedding more of the experiences within HCM so that the customer has a seamless experience.
So more and more SaaS solutions are using now Oracle Process to build human-based workflows, and partners can then customize them based on the customer needs.
That is correct. Again.
Okay, Stan, what other questions do we have which we want to point out?
So one question that I saw consistently was an ask for examples. So, we will publish blogs that have, standalone examples like the one Stan demoed, as well as blogs around how HCM and CX are using the product. So we will look at providing and publishing examples as part of those blogs. So please do stay tuned for that. You should see that in the upcoming weeks here. But in the meantime, if you do need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Stan or myself, and we'll be happy to help you.
Wonderful. So here are again the list of resources. I posted them also in the chat and in a question if you want to copy them. Arvind and Stan, thank you for the wonderful webcast. Thank you for Steve in the studio. If you have questions, you can find us on LinkedIn and you can reach out directly to us. Please make also use of the Lines and Channels team and talk to your partner manager to get you the support. Once you finish the webcast, a survey will pop up. So we're looking forward to get your feedback. And please join us for the next webcast, September 27th. Thanks for attending.